Hey there, I'm Catherine Chess. I'm a nutritionist and joyful living coach. And today we're cooking up a cardamom cake that will make your mouth and your taste buds sing. So you're gonna really enjoy this. So let's get started. We're gonna mix the dry ingredients. Well, normally when you cook and you bake with beaters, you mix the dry ingredients first and the wet ingredients. But what I've found is when you use a food processor, you don't need to do that. So if you're not using a food processor, just go ahead and mix the dry ingredients together and then mix the wet ingredients together. So let's get started. We're going to start with some almond flour, and I like to mix anytime a recipe calls for a gluten-free flour. I like to use almond flour, some cassava flour. Cassava is more of a root and it's super stabilizing, and then a little arrowroot. It just makes it creamier and it really makes it taste delicious. It binds together a little bit better. So I like these three ingredients. And then I mix baking soda, salt, and baking powder. So we're going to throw that in. And then we're going to blend this up. So yeah, we're going to mix the wet in here, but then we'll mix we're going to mix the dry, and then we'll mix the wet with it. So here we go. Get those dry ingredients really well blended, and then the best part. Oh, this is heaven. This is cardamom, and I use about 2 tablespoons because I like it so much. But cardamom, it really helps you with your digestion. It helps reduce blood pressure. It's just so good for you. And if you're looking at my white fingers, hey, this is what happens with the arrowroot. So kind of fun, right? You can wash it off. I just like getting goofy. Anyway, we're going to put the cardamom in, and then we're going to blend it once again. So let's go for it. Now the cardamom is really well blended. We're going to put some maple syrup in, eggs, 2 eggs. I've already blended these a little bit. It just helps. And then the secret in this is using a little coconut cream. It just makes the whole dish a little bit creamier, and coconut oil, anything with coconut in it, it's really good for your gut. So we're going to throw that in, and now I'll blend it up. So you can make this in a traditional loaf pan, but I really enjoy making it into individual muffins. It's just easier, and if it's just me that's going to be eating it, well, then I can freeze it and I can have as much as I want in little individual containers so I can make it last. Speaking of making this last, I recommend that you bliss yourself out and make yourself a priority. Let me explain, okay? When we bliss ourselves out, we bring ourselves to a high vibe frequency. Maybe you dance a little, maybe you just breathe yourself and breathe into your body from the bottom of your feet to the top of your toes, and you remember a time when things were really good, and it just permeates every single cell. Then you start saying no more often, putting your self-care as the #1 priority. Just making yourself a priority will really make you happier and healthier all around. It's so proven. So make yourself a priority and bliss yourself out all throughout the day. Whoops! Let me show you what I'm going to do next. I'm going to pour this batter into these little muffin tins. Here we go. Whoops! And then we'll bake this at 350 degrees for about 25 minutes, and then we'll come back and we're gonna make a great icing that's made with natural sugars. Actually, we make it with palm sugar. And are you having fun with me? I mean, you know, you gotta make cooking fun. You drop something, you make a little noise, it's no big deal. You just laugh while you cook. It's going to make it so much more fun and so much more easy. Enjoy. Now we're going to make the icing for the cardamom cake. It's just got a few ingredients and we can make it delicious. But you really need a high-speed blender. If you don't have a high-speed blender, it just doesn't work out as well because we're using palm sugar, which is really good for you, really healthy. And if you use, say, brown sugar, it just dissolves. But this has so many nutrients, but it's really hard to get this to melt. So we're going to use palm sugar, but we're going to blend it in the high-speed blender to get it really fine. So I'm just going to put the lid on and we're going to blend. The coconut sugar is all blended up. Ooh, you can see it looks like it's smoking, doesn't it? We're going to put a little vanilla in, just a dab. And then we're going to put in some coconut cream just to get it creamy and nice. And you know, I like this to be a little thicker, so I use some dates. I just put about 4 dates and I throw it all in, and we're going to blend again to get our icing. But first I want to talk about joy and pleasure. Now, if you're here on the planet Earth and you don't have a joyful, pleasurable life, you're missing out. That's why you're here, and that's what keeps you healthiest, happiest, the happiest you possible. So bring more joy and pleasure to your life. And maybe you're saying, Catherine, I don't know how to do that. I'm on this rat race and I can't get out of it. No, no, no. I don't agree. Start talking to yourself. I have joy. I have pleasure. Feel that pleasure. Remember a time when you had joy and pleasure, and bring those feelings to your body. And then just sit there all throughout the day. You're going to get better health, better happiness, and you're just going to be a better you. So remember that. Try it on and let me know how it goes. Let's blend this up, okay? The icing, I think it's done. Let me check it. Look at the color. It is so beautiful. Now this is a really thin icing. If you want it to be a little bit thicker, check that out. Just look at it. Yummy. If you want this to be more of an icing and not a glaze, you can add a little arrowroot to it and it'll thicken it right up. Try that. Enjoy. We're going to come back with the cake and we're going to ice it, and you will be amazed when you taste this cake. It is just incredibly delicious. We've got our icing for the cardamom cakes. See how cute these are? I love making them in little cupcakes because they're just easier, they're simple, and it's so adorable. So I'm just going to pour some icing on this. The icing's like a little ganache. So you almost let it kind of drizzle over the sides, just like that. And what's so fun about this is just that they're beautiful. This great caramel icing, it goes in all the little nooks and crannies. Make a mess with it. Have fun with it. And if you don't want something like this where you're making a mess with it, feel free to add a little arrowroot to this, like I said before, and you can thicken it up. But there's something that I really like about the drizzle. And you can take the paper off the outside and just have it drape over the sides. It is so beautiful. Enjoy these. I'm Catherine Chess. I'm your nutritionist and joyful living coach. I help you to rebalance your hormones, renew your energy, and love, love, love your life. But more importantly, I help you to love yourself. Go out and love yourself and enjoy the process. Love you. See you soon. Now the cardamom is really well blended. Whoops!